Before we begin, let's just take a moment in a time of prayer. Father, today we come into your presence with thanksgiving and joy. Today is so significant in our lives and for the kingdom. Andy and Kyle are being joined together as one in marriage. What a blessing for Kyle and Andy to make a covenant with each other in your presence and for us to bear witness and celebrate with them. We welcome your spirit to fill us during this time. Through all things, we want you to be glorified. We were all in the same place together. me either. We actually haven't been in the same place. And for all of us to be here today, right now, there must be some significance to this. And I'm sure you'll all agree that there certainly is. It's important for Kyle and Andy to let everyone know how meaningful it is for them to share this day with you. Thank you for everyone who worked so hard to make this all possible. All the efforts didn't start this morning. The greatest thanks goes to God, a long-haired, long-distance runner from California, and a beautiful creative from Tennessee don't fall in love in a Portland ice cream shop every day. Both of them have experience trying to force their relationship as they recognize the significance in each other, but their efforts on their own would fall short. I was able to witness firsthand when they both gave their relationship to God to control. Their relationship began to thrive. He restored what he saw and what they knew was in each other. Praise to God, not only do I believe they were created for each other, but I also believe his kingdom will be greatly impacted by the way they will live life together and do it in his name. Now, I just wanted to share some thoughts as I was just praying about today. And we're going to start all the way to Genesis 1, so if everyone's comfortable. I'm just kidding. But we are in Genesis 1. So in the beginning, God created. And 7 times he looked back at what he made and he said it was good. The first time God said something was not good was when it was in Genesis 2:18 when he saw that man was alone. So from man he made woman. She was made to be a helper suitable for him. To be honest, the Hebrew word for helper I think has much more meaning. The root of it is rescue, save, and strength. The only other times that word is used is referring to God when he's saving his people out. So before man took from the tree of knowledge of what was good and not good, God saw what was good, and what he said was not good was man, who he just appointed to co-rule over creation with him, was being alone, so he gave him an Azar, one who rescues or saves, and they became one. It's the most beautiful picture of marriage and the intent of marriage. This is the ideal. We unfortunately still decided to seek knowledge of what was good and not good for ourselves. And being in a marriage covenant has been much more difficult since that time. That decision also separated us from dwelling in God's presence, and life in general has been much more difficult since that time. But God, the perfect keeper of a covenant, does not want us to remain outside of his presence. And the rest of the Bible tells of his pursuit for us. In theme of covenant, here is how God makes one. In Genesis 15, God had Abraham take animals and split them in half, and he set them out, each on each side. And it's a ritual, an ancient ritual, to where both parties would walk between the animals. And the parties that were making the covenant essentially were saying, when we walk through these, if we break the covenant, may we end up like the animals on the sides of us. And God, in just his pure love and grace, put Abraham to sleep. He had him put him in a deep sleep so Abraham wouldn't have to walk through with him, because God knew that Abraham couldn't keep the covenant. And God just loves us, and he loves his people. So God went through it himself. True to form, we were not able to keep the covenant, and we fast forward 1700 years, and Jesus comes onto the scene, who is all God and all man. He lives a perfect life which no man was able to do, and he gives his life as a sacrifice to cover our iniquities, that we may be able to be back in God's presence if we choose. The God who keeps his covenant has shown us how to do it, and he not only makes the covenant, but he keeps it. In Ephesians 5:21, Paul calls married couples to submit to one another out of reverence of Christ. The verses to follow explain the call for the husband and wife to model after Christ, and to love just as Christ loved, and to sacrifice for each other just as Christ did. It's beautiful. Please read it if you have never. It's Ephesians 5:21. Today, Andi and Kyle, you are making a covenant vow to each other. You guys are called to sacrifice to one another and love one another just as God and God incarnate in Jesus demonstrated. It means suffering. It means giving up your pride and bearing love. It means dying to yourself. And this can only be done with Christ. A cord of 3 strands is not easily broken. You are going to be one together under him. Seek his wisdom and not your own. Submit to his ways in your marriage, and love and serve one another. Now we're going into vows, and Kyle and Andi have written their own vows. Andi will go.
Over 2 years ago, I journaled that you, Kyle, were an answered prayer and a fulfilled promise. We had only been dating a couple weeks at that point, and according to you, we weren't officially dating yet. But I knew you were different from anyone I'd met. You pursued me relentlessly. You would take me out for late night walks and pray and point me to Jesus over and over again. When everything felt like chaos, you were a compass pointing to heaven. And you have continued to be that. After a few months, we entered some stormy seas, and in my journal I then wrote these words. It's been a turbulent season for Kyle and I, but God's grace is sufficient, and he's given me a compassionate and long-suffering heart for this man. There have been times along the way that I felt like your hero, but even more times that you felt like mine. We will take turns wearing the cape. We will take turns carrying the weight. The fact that we're here today has proven both of those journal entries to be true. That number 1, you're a fulfilled promise, and number 2, God's grace is sufficient. His grace will be the glue that holds us together. I'll say these vows knowing that I'm human and will inevitably fall short at times, but with the gospel comes grace, forgiveness, reconciliation, and second chances. Kyle Akshunis. From today forward, I promise to lock arms and partner with you in eagerly following where the Spirit leads us, to bring heaven to earth in any way that we can, and to be in tune with the Father's calling for our lives. I will remind you of who he created you to be and help you live into that. I will remind you of how he sees you, chosen, holy, faultless, loved, and free. I will believe in you when you don't believe in yourself, and I will call out the goodness I see in you. I will commend you in growth and be patient with you in lack. I promise to listen to you and seek to understand your heart. I promise to be attentive to how you're doing and what you need, encouragement, a silly joke, a chest to lay your head on, a night in, a good laugh, or a long nap, which is usually the solution. I promise to stick with you as we change and on the days we don't recognize each other anymore. I will get to know you again and again. When I may feel like running away or hiding, I will choose to press in. I will never give up on you. I am by your side forever.
Beautiful girl. Man, I can't believe that we're standing here together right now. From when we met about 3 years ago, there's been so much that has happened. So much, and I think it's only fair to say that we are only standing here together as a result of God's goodness, His faithfulness, and grace. You have loved me so consistently, so gracefully, and so honorably. You are an incredible friend, sister, and partner in Christ. I love the way you challenge me to not let my feelings get the best of me, challenge me to have the perspective we are called to have as followers and warriors for Christ. Challenge me to lead the life of a Christ-centered life. You are such an amazing woman. Man. I know we are very different, but that is what I love about us. I love the ways we challenge each other to grow and serve and to love. We have so many good things coming our way. Hard things, yes, but it's so good. You have helped me rid myself of preconceived notions of what it means to love somebody. All those fairy tales that I've seen on TVs and movies and you name it, just things I've put inside my mind that shouldn't be there. You have helped me uncover and begin to understand what love actually is, what it's supposed to be. Thank you for the ways you have bared with me throughout my depression, throughout the transformation of my mind, and throughout this engagement season. You have always been the truest friend, and I'll keep repeating that. You're such a true friend, the friend you can always count on and rely on, and you are in such pain when you see someone in discomfort. I admire you, Andrea Allison. The people that are around you and I are a testament to how you have been faithful to Christ. You are strong, kind, patient, and absolutely beautiful. You are fearful of the Lord, and you do not compromise on the things that are most important to you. So much. I could go on about the ways you have made me a better person, a better friend, and a better follower of Christ, but I'm here to say the promises I aim to upkeep for the rest of our lives. Graceful girl, hear my vows to you. I vow to love the Lord our God above all else and above all things. I vow to pursue Him with all of my heart and soul. I vow to be alive in Christ the rest of my life, for a dead person cannot bring life into any relationship, into any marriage. I vow to live like Jesus no matter what happens in our lives. He is the one I will build my framework upon. I vow to never stop making you laugh, making you smile, and reminding you how incredible you are. I vow to always apologize for when I have wronged you, and I will be quick about it. I vow to be the leader of the household, not just any leader, but one that is above reproach, faithful to you, temperate, self-controlled, respectable, hospitable, and teachable. I vow to never stop reminding myself to why we chose to be together. I vow to never make you my sole source of comfort. God has put people in our lives for a reason, in a community that surrounds us that are meant to be together and use the community around us. I vow to love you, to support you, and give myself up for you, the way Christ gave himself up for the church and for us. I will never stop serving you. I vow to remind you of Jesus and will do anything in my power to point you back to him. I vow to never stamp out the things in you that make you special. You are clever, purposeful, and everything you do has a meaning to it. I don't understand it a lot, but I want the creativity in you to never be lessened, only heightened. I vow to never leave you whenever we're not happy. If God never leaves his bride, so will I. I know I won't be perfect at any of these, but I promise you I will do everything. I mean everything to uphold them. I want to thank you now for the patience you have in my shortcomings. I love you so much, and I know we haven't breached the surface of what it means, like what true love actually is. And I'm looking forward to spending the rest of my life with you, and laughing, and growing with you, my beautiful bride, soon to be Andrea Opportunist. You're the one I love.
I think now Kyle and Andy are going to take communion together. And then the song as well.
And as you speak, 100 billion galaxies are born, in the vapor of your breath the planets form. If the stars are made to worship so alive, I can see your heart and everything you made. Every burning star, a signal fire of grace. If creation sings your praises so night.
We've prayed to each other before, but I get the honor to pray it to them now. God,